Yes.
Good evening, everyone. So today here we are with the session 2 of double taxation avoidance agreements. In the last session, we had discussed about the basic idea of what double taxation means. What is double taxation avoidance agreement? What are the types of agreement? Whether they are comprehensive or limited, and what are MLIs? We had given a brief idea of MLIs as well. Now, in furtherance to that session, we will today be dealing with small topics for our discussion, and we are short session. So today we will be giving you a brief idea of the articles of DTA. So we have basically divided the articles into 6 chunks. So how these chunks are grouped and what these articles would be dealing with, we will give you a brief idea in a holistic manner. Secondly, we will be dealing with Article 1 and Article 2 in detail in this session, and Article 3, we will be giving you a brief introduction for this article. Now, as we have already discussed about this, what does double taxation avoidance agreement mean? Basically, it is an agreement between two contracting states, and this agreement is basically entered into to avoid any case of double taxation, which will be faced by the resident of any of the countries. So this is what DTAs is. Now, the basic structure of DTAs. Basically, there are 6 categories in which you can divide all these articles of DTAs into. So first is scope provisions. Article 1, 2, 29 and 30 basically deal with the scope. Article 1 tells you the general scope of the treaty. It says that this treaty will be applicable on the resident of any or both of the contracting states. Secondly, Article 2 will be dealing with the taxes covered by the DTAs. So which all taxes will be covered, whether income tax, gift tax, wealth tax, and in some cases even petroleum tax is covered. Article 2 tells you about the taxes which are covered by the treaty. Now, Article 29 tells you that when will this entry come into force. Basically, entry here means the convention or the treaty will come into force. So it says that when all the formalities are done by each of the countries, then they will intimate the other country, and only after that this entry or per se the DTA will come into existence. Now, Article 30 deals with the termination. So basically, the articles reads as the treaty shall remain into force until terminated by any of the state or contracting state. So although it is not as simple as it says that either of the contracting state can terminate it by itself, but it has to follow some diplomatic procedures, and a proper procedure has to be followed to terminate the DTA. Now, coming to the next chunk, it deals with the definition provisions. So Article 3, 4 and 5 basically deal with the definitions. 3 deals with the general definitions, like what does person mean, what does company means, what does the contracting state and the other contracting state means. And this is a confusion which sometimes if a layman is reading, or if a person who is reading the DTA for the first time, he may not be able to identify the terms contracting state and the other contracting state. So that also we will be dealing with in today's session. Now, Article 4 deals with what does a resident means. What does residence mean? Article 5 is permanent establishment, and it is a celebrated topic in itself. And this article tells you when a company is set to form a permanent establishment in the contracting state or the other contracting state, as the case may be. Now, the third chunk deals with the taxation of incomes. So Article 6 to 8 and 10 to 22 deals with the specific provisions for taxing incomes. It deals with interest income, dividend income, royalty, FTS, fees for technical services, or dividend. So all these types of specific incomes are covered under Article 6 to 22, basically. Now, the next category is elimination of double taxation. So Article 23 and 25 are generally the articles which deal with this elimination of double taxation. And this is the whole purpose was for introducing the DTAs. So these are two important articles which form the basis for of existence of DTAs. So Article 23 talks about elimination of double taxation. So basically there are two types of elimination of double taxation, which is by the exemption method and the other one is by the credit method. So exemption is sometimes provided by normal exemption, or sometimes progressional exemption is there. So this will be dealing in the session where we will dealing with Article 23. In that particular session, we will be dealing with this article in detail. Now, Article 25 is a mutual agreement article, which says that if a person feels that the countries which have entered into the DTA are not taxing any particular income in the manner which justifies the whole idea of the DTA, then he can file his objections to the competent authority of any of the contracting state. And then the contracting states of both and then the competent authority of both the contracting states will come together and mutually agree to tax that particular income in a manner which is justifiable and in line with the DTA. So Article 25 is basically in pursuance of elimination of double taxation. Now, next category is anti-avoidance. Article 9 is related to associated enterprises and Article 26 is exchange of information. So basically here Article 26 is all about exchanging of information amongst the two contracting states of the DTAs. So here they would be dealing exchanging information about any type of tax or any kind of judgment which has been rolled out in the contracting states, which might have a potential impact on the taxation of any of the incomes, or even if not on the immediate taxation, but it could have a potential impact on the future taxation of the incomes, or how this will even help to frame the laws in the respective countries. This article will help. Next and the last portion is miscellaneous provisions. So Article 24, 27 and 28 deal with these miscellaneous provisions, and 24 is non-discrimination clause. Basically, it says that the provision of the tax laws of a particular contracting state should not be having a discriminatory impact on the resident of the other country. So अगर आप suppose एक PE है, उसको आप इंडियन इनकम टैक्स के एग्जाम से अगर हम एक हिसाब से अगर हम एग्जांपल लें, सो इट शुड नॉट हैव अ रेट व्हिच इज नॉट एज पर द रेट व्हिच इज प्रेवलेंट अदरवाइज इन इंडिया. तो वो एट पार रखना है नॉन रेजिडेंट्स को भी या रेजिडेंट ऑफ द अदर कंट्री को, एंड द प्रोविजन शुड नॉट बी डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी. Article 27 says talks about the taxation of diplomats, and it says that generally what happens is that diplomats reside in the other contracting state, that is जिस country में वो resident हैं उसमें ना रह के वो दूसरी contracting state में रहते हैं, कोई भी हो सकती है, and वहाँ पे जो वो income earn करते हैं, it could be any source, maybe उन्होंने वहाँ पे शायद immovable property ली है या bank interest आ रहा है. For that reason, they will be taxed in that other country. Suppose if I take an example, if there is a diplomat which is a resident of UK and he is residing in India for his professional reasons, then जो income उसको India से generate हो रही है for maybe in the form of interest income or capital gains on the immovable property in India, so उस income के ऊपर वो India में tax जरूर देंगे, but just because he is paying tax in India on that income does not make him a resident in India. So basically, the essence of Article 27 lies in this fact. Now, third article is in this category is Article 28, and it deals with territorial extension. Sometimes what happens is that generally जो DTA होता है, generally it covers the whole of the country, but sometimes like in the case of Denmark, जो इंडिया और डेनमार्क का DTA है, वो डेनमार्क की कुछ एक कैटेगरी ऑफ jurisdictional टेरिटोरियल जुरिस्डिक्शन को कवर नहीं करता है, ठीक है. बट कभी इन फ्यूचर अगर आफ्टर द नेगोशिएशन ऑफ द टू कंट्रीज इंडिया एंड डेनमार्क, इफ दे फील दैट द पोर्शन विच इज नॉट yet covered under the DTA, उस पोर्शन को भी अगर उन्होंने डीटीए के अंदर लाना है, सो दे कैन यूज दिस आर्टिकल 28 एंड दे कैन एक्सटेंड द टेरिटोरियल impact of this DTA. So this was the whole holistic view of how the DTAs look like, and sometimes you may find that एक आधा आर्टिकल नंबर ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है, कभी किसी DTA में आर्टिकल 4 कुछ और कहता है, 5 कुछ और कहता है, मतलब उसका डील वो किसी और चीज से करता है. बट हाँ, दिस इज द जनरल way how the DTA looks like. Now, while dealing with the DTAs, one should always be informed about the protocols and the memorandum of understandings which have been signed between the countries, because these are the amendments basically in layman language, which have to be read along with the existing DTAs to identify the correct tax impact on the contracting states. Now coming to the first article of DTA, which talks about the general scope. So generally it reads like DTA applies to a person who are resident of one or both of the contracting states. Sometimes the DTAs generally cover this specific line itself, कि वो apply होगा resident of one or both of the contracting states. But कभी-कभी first article में ही they elaborate so much so that they define the contracting state, saying that it will include the territorial sea, exclusive economic zone, continental shelf adjacent to the outer limit of the territorial sea. So ये jargons हैं, but what the generally article 1 holds is कि एक resident जो है उसके ऊपर DTA apply होगा. It could be the resident of one of the contracting state or the both the contracting states. Now we have been time and again saying contracting states or particularly other contracting state. So जब हम DTA पढ़ते हैं, these terms are used in each and every article. So the term of, अगर हम article 3 में जाएं, वहां पे जनरल डेफिनेशंस की जो आर्टिकल है वो आर्टिकल 3, वहां पे कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग स्टेट और अदर कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग स्टेट को डिफाइन कर दिया जाता है. सपोज इफ आई टेक एन एग्जांपल दैट इंडिया हैज एंटर्ड इनटू एन डबल टैक्सेशन अवॉइडेंस एग्रीमेंट विद नीदरलैंड्स, सो वहां आर्टिकल 3 में इट वुड हैव बीन डिफाइंड दैट contracting state would mean India and the other contracting state would mean Netherlands, or as the context requires. Now context requires का मतलब यहाँ पे I will explain it with the help of an example. Suppose first example अगर हम लेते हैं, income derived by a resident of a contracting state from immovable property situated in the other contracting state. So basically contracting state और other contracting state क्या मतलब है, एक हमारी resident country होती है और दूसरी हमारी होती है source country. एक country का जो taxpayer है, either he is the resident of one country or he would have been generating the income or the income would have been sourced from one of the countries. So in this particular example, we are able to see that the contracting state which it is talking about is the resident country. So here the contracting state will be the country of resident and the other contracting state is the country of source. So income will be taxed in the resident country or for the immovable property which is situated in the other contracting state. So next example is dividends paid by a company which is a resident of a contracting state to a resident of the other contracting state may be taxed in that other state. तो यहाँ पे जब उसने contracting state बोला, you might be able to identify कि यहाँ पे जो contracting state का उसने context use किया है, it is in the context that contracting state को उसने source country identify किया है, and other contracting state here is resident country. So you have to read both these terms in the context of the articles and how the article is framed. Now, next article is Article 2, which are the taxes covered under the particular DTA. So this article basically tells you about what are taxes which are being considered by the particular DTAs, and only which taxes are provided under this article, only those will be considered for taking the credit or exemption in the resident country. तो ये आर्टिकल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है while taking the credit of the taxes which have already been paid in the source country. So if these taxes are not defined very precisely and very accurately, the taxpayer might face issue while taking the credit in this resident country. So it holds a lot of importance while preparing the DTA. It also holds importance because अगर हम आर्टिकल 2 देखें, वहां पे generally that deals with income taxes or direct taxes. It might include wealth tax, gift tax, sometimes taxes on capital, और कई केसेस में वो पेट्रोलियम टैक्स भी इंक्लूड करता है. Now, जब वो income tax कहता है, in most of the cases it says income tax including any surcharge thereupon. Now, had they not defined this income tax so precisely and to the point, प्रॉब्लम क्या आती? इंडिया के केस में अगर हम देखें, हमारे कंट्री में पहले जब इनकम टैक्स था, इनिशियली इनकम टैक्स था, फिर उसके बाद सेस इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ एंड देन सरचार्ज इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ. तो अगर उन्होंने यहाँ पे इस टर्म को इतना एलैबोरेटिवली नहीं लिखा होता दैट इट इंक्लूड सरचार्ज और समटाइम्स सेस, जो टैक्स पेयर है उसको बहुत इशू आता व्हाइल टेकिंग द क्रेडिट, बिकॉज वहां पे जो आर्टिकल 2 है वहां पे सरटैक्स और सरचार्ज कभी मेंशन ही नहीं होता. फर्दरमोर, अगर ये इशू फेस होता तो डेफिनेटली कंट्रीज वुड हैव कम टुगेदर एंड दे वुड हैव ट्राइड टू रीनेगोशिएट द ट्रीटी. So to avoid all these things and to avoid the renegotiation and the whole long hectic process, it is very important that the taxes are well defined under this article. Now, the next thing which the articles deals with is, generally it deals with income tax, as I've already told you. Indirect taxes are not covered particularly. Now, in the current scenario, there is an equalization levy in India which is being imposed by India. As of now, what people or what the experts are interpreting is, there are two schools of thoughts. One says that equalization levy is part of direct taxes and it should draw its inference from the same, and it should be considered that it is a part of income tax and the credit should be well provided within this within the DTAs. But the other school of thought says that since it has not been specifically provided in the Article 2, it could be a litigative position if we take the credit of this equalization levy. So we will see how these controversial thing will get settled, but as of now there is a confusion, and this is how this article helps us to avoid the confusion or avoid any controversial matters to happen. अगर ये आर्टिकल इतना elaborate है, elaboratively provide करता बाकी taxes को भी, तो ये equalization levy वाला issue भी नहीं create होता. But it's okay, we will learn from all these things, and we will definitely consider this while preparing the MLIs or while considering the modifications in the DTAs if they are modified in respect of the MLIs. Now, third thing which it says is specific exclusions. So basically, जो हमारी इंडिया एंड नीदरलैंड्स की ट्रीटी है, it provides a specific exclusion for the research and development cess. तो जब ये आर्टिकल किसी टैक्स को स्पेसिफिकली एक्सक्लूड करता है, देन इट हेल्प्स अस टू आइडेंटिफाई कि ये वाले टैक्स का क्रेडिट आपको नहीं मिलेगा इन योर रेजिडेंट कंट्री. सो अगर एक कंपनी है which is resident of Netherlands and the company is paying a research and development cess in India, then he will not be able to claim this the credit of this R&D cess in Netherlands. So this article helps to clarify the position. Furthermore, this article is actually not applicable on Article 24 and 26. So basically Article 24 और 26 deal करता है हमारा एक्सचेंज ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन से एंड नॉन डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी प्रोविजंस थे. सो the article 24 and 26 itself starts with a non-obstinate clause, which says that nothing in this article shall be, notwithstanding anything contained in article 2, the provisions of this article shall apply. So basically, जो नॉन डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी प्रोविजन है, इट विल हैव नथिंग टू विद आर्टिकल 2. तो अगर कोई टैक्स आर्टिकल 2 में कवर्ड नहीं है, तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि एक पर्सन हु इज अ रेजिडेंट ऑफ द अदर कॉन्ट्रैक्टिंग स्टेट कैन नॉट से कि कोई XYZ अदर टैक्स है जो कि हमारी ट्रीटी में कवर्ड नहीं है, उसके रिस्पेक्ट में अगर मेरे को सोर्स कंट्री डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी प्रोविजंस अप्लाई कर रही है, दे कैन डेफिनेटली टेक द हेल्प ऑफ दिस आर्टिकल 24 एंड कैन अपील टू द कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटीज दैट दे शुड टेक एक्शन अगेंस्ट द डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी प्रोविजंस. Furthermore, Article 26 is related to exchange of information. So basically, अगर कोई exchange of information होगी, so it should not be confined to the taxes which are covered under Article 2. So it can include any other type of tax for which the countries feel that they should exchange the information. So this was about Article 2. Now, Article 3, which will be we will be dealing in a brief manner today, is all about general definitions. It deals with definitions like person, company, entrepreneur, or enterprise, and contracting state or other contracting state per se. And which the terms which are not defined in the treaty, they have to be considered as per the domestic laws. So, अगर कोई एक term hai which has not been defined in the DTAs, so you can definitely go back to the definition provided in the Income Tax Act. And sometimes kya hota hai ki Income Tax Act also does not provide the specific definition for that particular term. Then we will have to refer the judicial precedents or the model conventions, UN model or US model, or per se the OECD model conventions, and sometimes the international tax laws or tax case laws also. So this was all about today's session. And one thing more, since I have been dealing with the introductory part in this session, people who have been surfing on the income tax portal for the DTAs, for reading the DTAs, you might have come across a comprehensive agreement and the synthesized text. So to give you a brief idea, basically synthesized text is the modified version of the DTAs which are modified in line with the MLIs. So since the government of India had notified the MLIs in 2019, from then onwards, they had modified the existing DTAs with the countries who were parties to these MLIs, and they have modified the DTAs, and that modified text of the DTA is synthesized text. It is only a fancy name which is there, but basically what it means is जो हमारा DTA modified है in line with the MLIs. So this was all about the basic understanding and the initial articles of the DTAs which we had to talk about today. So thank you for the session and for patient listening.